In the event of a devastating disease outbreak or flood, humanity will need crops that can withstand the harshest conditions. In recent years, governments from across the world have united to create a network of Doomsday seed vaults in anticipation of a global catastrophe. Now humanity's last resort in the Middle East has gotten bigger, with Lebanon Seed Vault receiving 70,000 new samples. The laboratory will use the seeds as part of a global effort to breed new crops capable of withstanding threats such as drought, climate change and diseases. The International Centre for Agricultural Research in the Dry Areas, Icarda, situated in Lebanon's Bekaa Valley, is attempting to rebuild stores left stranded in Syria thanks to the country's ongoing civil war. It forms part of a global effort to create new, more resilient crop varieties from the wild cousins of modern food crops capable of surviving global catastrophes. Icarda's new seeds include wild relatives of the grass pea and faba bean, wild wheat from Italy, as well as a wild lentil plant from Cyprus. Scientists will use the seeds to try and improve their domesticated relatives against current and future threats such as natural pests and climate change. The new delivery contained more than 50 wild relatives of cultivated crops, including lentils, wheat and barley. The samples came from Britain's own Doomsday Vault, the Millennium Seed Bank at Kew, Sussex, which is the world's largest wild plant seed bank. They are being delivered to a secure laboratory in Lebanon, where they will be used for food security research. The International Centre for Agricultural Research in the Dry Areas, Icarda, situated in Lebanon's Bekaa Valley, is attempting to rebuild stores left stranded in Syria thanks to the country's ongoing civil war. It forms part of a global effort to create new, more resilient crop varieties from the wild cousins of modern food crops capable of surviving global catastrophes. The real importance of these crop wild relatives is that, in order to survive in the world, they've had to adapt to hostile environmental changes. Oriole Wagstaff of the Crop Wild Relatives Project at Kew's Botanic Garden at Wakehurst in Sussex, told BBC News. With increasing pressures such as pests, diseases and climate change, we need to turn to these wild relatives, which have a much greater genetic diversity. Icarda's new seeds include wild relatives of the grass pea and faba bean, wild wheat from Italy, as well as a wild lentil plant from Cyprus. The team is currently rebuilding what was once the largest collection of seeds from across the region, which is currently unreachable in Aleppo. They hope to store thousands of varieties of wheat, barley, lentils and fava, broad bean. Reserve samples from the famed Svalbard Global Seed Vault, buried inside a mountain in Norway, have helped to recreate the seed bank. The new samples from Kew will give the Lebanon researchers a chance to study the genes of wild crops and compare them to the living cousins. These wild ones contain hidden treasures that might one day solve the threats crops are facing at the moment, Ms. Wagstaff said.